Let's start. Part 1. Everyone has gender dysphoria. For quite a bit, I've been studying my subjects, my cis friends. Under rigorous examination, I have observed that they exhibit signs of gender dysphoria as well. Subject A says,
I don't like my hairy arms. They look manly.
And I thought to myself, cis women seem to share the same aversion towards having physical traits that are seen as manly. As subject number A clarified,
It's not that I don't want to be masculine or do masculine things. I just don't want to be mistaken.
as a man. Bingo, I said to myself, as I share the same sentiment. It's not that I don't want to be masculine or do masculine things. I just like to be seen or read as female first. I would reckon that this aversion is the counterpart that is present in cis men and trans men. One that I don't experience.
Trans women and trans men don't experience gender dysphoria the same. They remove vulva, I add them.
So this is where I decided to split gender dysphoria in half. The first half is gynodysphoria. It's the discomfort of having female secondary and or primary sex characteristics. Androdysphoria is the discomfort of having male secondary and or the characteristics. You get it. For example, men who hate having gynecomastia or wide hips, they have gynodysphoria. Women who hate having man shoulders or big feet, they have androdysphoria. Problem areas are, but are not limited to, muscle mass, height, body fat, hair, size, shape, bones, all bones, not just the type looks maxers hyperfixate on. These are secondary sex characteristics where the issues usually lie.
Flat breast.
Look like little boy. Boom, breast enhancement. Short limbs, short like woman. Boom, limb enhancement. Wow, look more like my gender. This is sexual dimorphism, the condition where different sexes of the same species exhibit different morphological characteristics, like colorful plumes for certain male birds and boring ones for the divas. Like what? In humans, it's usually this. Man big, woman small. But if you have eyes and touch grass, you would notice that a lot of people, regardless of their sex, look different than the usual. Human appearance is so varied that anyone can come from different shapes and sizes. That if everyone were just silhouettes, turn bald and tuck away their pee-pee, it sometimes becomes hard to tell which is which. And this is where gender dysphoria comes in. I have a theory that gender dysphoria is an enforcer of sexual dimorphism. For most of cis heterosexual people, it functions as pressure and motivation to be as eligible as one can be for sexual selection, as deviations from the standard may be perceived as less attractive. Depending on the severity, it leads to optimization and exaggeration of their respective dimorphic traits and behaviors. Examples: pointing arms and shoulders for men, glutes and thighs for women, lower voice for men. Why do guys get
so bloody pressed about what their girl were?
Other extreme cases: looks maxing, BBLs, gender affirming surgery. At least in the current times, these are what's attractive. But humans are so complex that even though a lot of people have sexually dimorphic traits, it doesn't guarantee their selection. Sexually, humans can create a gazillion reasons not to choose somebody, sometimes to a pretentious extent. Let's talk about Andrew Tate. If I got memory wiped and saw a photo of him not being a bitch, I would be like, yeah, he looks fine.
Ew! What?
I'm just saying. I'm attracted to men who have sideburns. You think I have shame? Leave me alone. But unfortunately, Andrew Tate is a piece of shit He will enjoy a lifetime of being surrounded by women who only want him for his money, and thus he will complain that all women are the same. That's because normal people avoid you like the plague, buddy. This is sexual selection. The undesirables don't get selected sexually. So no, sexual dimorphism is not a guarantee for sexual selection, as one can argue these primal preparations are deemed unfitting for modern society. As one can surmise, the variety of our appearances is a clear testament to that. As I surmise again that we've evolved to be attracted to literally anything. Literally anything! A lot of men go nay-nays for penis on a girl. Maybe it's evolution's way to ensure that no one gets lonely, thus increasing lifespan and the human race thrive all together.
But what about me? I'm lonely.
People get turned on by farts in a jar, Mary. I don't want to hear any goddamn excuses. So if you ever feel like a heinous Hunchback of Notre Dame type jazz, just remember, someone out there is crazy for you and you only. Society's ideals just get in the way sometimes.
Gender dysphoria exists in cis people, but that doesn't mean it's essential or vital for what I assume its purpose is, which is to increase desirability for sexual selection. As true as it is, the overwhelming majority of people are visually attracted to sexually dimorphic people, but there are too many factors that affect sexual selection, not just physical looks. Now,
Part 2. Body Dysmorphia.
But Tiffany, aren't all those just body dysmorphia? Are you arguing that the specific gender-related discontent is just gender dysphoria all along?
Yeah? What about it?
But that goes against, well, every medical institution's out there.
Yeah? I may not be of prestige status, the likes of doctors and professors and teachers, but a sound logic can come from anyone, regardless of formal education.
It's kind of like Ratatouille.
And I've been reading many different websites and Wikipedia. Wikipedia? You're getting your sources from Wikipedia? I don't care what you think, Henry Cavill. Internet says, gender dysphoria is a feeling of distress that can happen when a person's gender identity differs from the sex assigned at birth. Okay, let's go to Harry Sally, a cis woman. She says she feels manly or unfeminine and fears being suspected as a man. Her gender identity remains aligned to her assigned sex at birth, as she mostly still passes off as a female, just a masculine one. Doctor blames it on social standards and prevents her from getting surgeries. He is prescribed SSRIs and talk therapy. Diagnosis: body dysmorphia, because she's a cis woman. But has it occurred to people that it's not just because of social standards that she feels discomfort, but because she feels too similar to men? And that's an issue because she's androdysphoric. And who's also androdysphoric? Me! Trans woman, bitch! Let's talk about body dysmorphia. I'm skinny Jimmy. I need muscles. I don't feel big enough. I need to be more what? More what exactly? More masculine, perhaps? It is an issue with lacking sexually dimorphic traits. It is an issue with a lack of gender indicators. It is an issue with gender. A dysphoria with gender-related things. It's just gender dysphoria! Wait. The difference is, body dysmorphia symptoms have nothing to do with being trans because, let me read the symptoms real quick. Extreme preoccupation with a perceived flaw that appears minor or that others don't notice at all. Your thoughts about your body flaw must be severe enough that they interfere with your ability to live normally. Avoidance of social situations due to anxiety, shame, or embarrassment. Attempts to hide a perceived flaw with makeup, styling, or clothes. This is just hilarious. You could argue that gender dysphoria is just body dysmorphia. But the problem is with treatment. Severe gender dysphoria is not treated with SSRIs or talk therapy, as scientific empirical evidence show that only gender-affirming care works. My main issue is when we feel it, it's gender dysphoria. But when cis people feel it, it's body dysmorphia. Yeah, right, buddy. I'm not a huge fan of this exclusivity of gender dysphoria with trans people. It creates distance, isolation. It's only for those trans people, those Tyrannosaurus Rex who invented it. Cis people experience it too. It's just that it's usually minor. Usually.
So, if everyone has it, does that mean everyone should get gender-affirming care?
In an ideal world, anyone can do whatever they want with their bodies. It's just for trans people, it's usually severe. Hence, we need medical assistance. If minor gender dysphoria is treated with pills and therapy, then let it be. But if women want to inject plastic into their hips, it's their biz. Love you, Sandra Peppa Denton. I'm a huge fan. So I would like to change that body dysmorphia is mainly an issue with health indicators, such as weight, skin problems, and age. Let's add unusual physical appearance there too. I separated it as having those are not indicative of gender, as anyone having those can look either way. That's probably why most of us are averse to having skin issues, irregular number of fingers, signs of aging, and extreme weight differences. Most of us, as having an aversion towards something creates a desire towards its opposite, sometimes to a deadly extent. Gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia similarities are that both can be influenced by social standards, which are often unhealthy and unattainable. Gender dysphoria enforces sexual dimorphism, and body dysmorphia enforces health. So for my theory to be correct, gender dysphoria's definition must be changed, as it is defined to be an incongruence of one's gender identity and their sex, which I absolutely fucking hate. I hate that definition so much. Holy shit.
Because they put gender identity as the focal point, making it all seem like a choice. Even worse, an ideology. Which is ridiculous because I never chose to feel this way. My dysphoria is there, whether I like it or not. But that's a topic for another video, so I can give it an ample amount of rage.
Anyone trans watching this? Yes, that's the official definition. But upon observation, it is more of a discomfort by having a natural aversion towards having female or male traits, which anyone can experience. And so, what makes somebody trans? Part 3.
How do you know you're a tranny?
Those trans making frogs trans. Making our body trans. So I have hypothesized that the overwhelming majority of people have the opposite dysphoria to their sex that makes them cis. But what happens when someone spawns differently? Hi there, that's me. Basically, you exist with a brain that's like,
Ma, you look masculine. I think you should kill yourself.
it's visceral, physical. A male dysphoria is so potent when inside a feminine body. It's minute, ignorable, and trivial. But when inside a masculine body, it destroys. It agonizes. It wants you to destroy yourself. It has a list, and all your body parts are in it. depending how lucky you are. Same for the other way around. Wrong software on a hardware, if you will. This is why we need medical attention. Exhibit A.
Why would she do this? She was so beautiful. We lost a baddie. The woke virus attacks again.
Maybe it's because they have a debilitating dysphoria that they have to remedy. After all, their existence is not about your pleasure. It's everyone's responsibility to make the best life we can make for ourselves. And to them, this is what it looks like. And it's none of your business. It doesn't matter how attractive or valuable your sexual characteristics are perceived. If you have gender dysphoria, the beauty of those traits will be the equivalent sum of your despair.
I personally wouldn't do it. It would make me feel gross.
Exactly. You couldn't even if you tried. The thought of estrogen seeping through your bloodstream makes you quiver. But it's home to me. You can't walk a mile in my shoes, and I can't in yours. That's because we're not the same. Stop projecting your very limited frame of references onto other people, because you're not everybody. And everybody is not you! You self-absorbed diva. Like it. But dysphoria is not an extreme binary. It's a spectrum. As observation shows, the intensity varies. It seems you can have both, could change over time, and sometimes not at all. Which would explain people who manifest these appearances and are most comfortable looking that way. Like slightly feminine men, shapeshifters, and masculine women who prefer short hair. Important note that this graph isn't about gender identities. It's about observable physical traits. You can identify as a white,
transmasculine, femme, non-binary, temporarily mostly able-bodied, neurodivergent,
and still be able to be described within the ranges of sexual dimorphism, mostly in the middle. So the existence of gender dysphoria implies that there is gender euphoria, a feel-good sense of approval that either comes from you or society. I reckon that's the feeling I got when I first wore a dress and looked really pretty. I would describe the feeling as drinking cold water at 3 a.m. when you've been sleeping dehydrated for 18 years. And then you just get used to being hydrated until someone responds to you at work with, "Yes, ma'am." And you're like, "You better stop right there, mister. You don't know what you're getting into." I don't think that's even just a trans woman thing. I think a lot of women would like being called like ma'am because it sounds very like, like. I'd assume it's the same with men being called big. They seem to really like that. Like, "Hey there, big guy. What you thinking, creatine? What's the matter, protein powder? Is there something weighing on you?" Get it? Weigh? Though someone who has androdysphoria cannot experience androeuphoria, even though they fit the ideal. Muscles, wide shoulders, big dick. You compliment them that they look like a Greek god or their shoulders are wide and they're like, They don't respond the same way cis guys normally would. They would be like, "Yeah, someone called me big. I feel so..." I don't know. They just act weird.
Because gender dysphoria and social dysphoria are not the same, but are easily misconstrued. What you're okay with is not necessarily what society's okay with. And in this case, it's the latter. Furthermore, in this scene, Karen also says she has big hips in a bad way. Could be an aversion to femininity, or a sign of the times when having a fat ass was considered unattractive for women. Or anyone really. The latter is most believable. This This discernment is important because you need to know how much of your disapproval towards yourself is taught by society, which you should unlearn. Because the most important approval you can have is of yourself. Shout out to the Bricky girls. Y'all are amazing. Yes, I know Mean Girls is fictional, yet mirror real life phenomena experienced by real people. Now hush.
But back to the topic at hand. Does therapy cure gender dysphoria in trans people? Like, remove it? Earlier, I argued that gender dysphoria is a vital part of everyone's identity. That just sounds like lobotomy, honestly. What if we flip it around, make trans into cis? You think we haven't tried? Medical institutions have been doing this for years, and it's been ruled as false. Are we surprised though? The same way you cannot turn a cis person into a trans person. It's not something that is supposed to be cured. It's something to be remedied or aligned with. This is what a non-transition person who should transition looks like on the graph. This is a cis person. To achieve peace, you must leave the dysphoria range as the graph indicates. Its intensity scales with proximity. I have severe male dysphoria and I was born male. But luckily for me, I was born effeminate, so I already got a little head start. After 5 years of transitioning, I'm finally at peace with my dysphoria. Mostly. That's why the word transgenders don't apply to me. I am a transsexual, soon to be. I have passed the gender barrier, and now I need to pass the sex barrier. Though not all trans women desire to have bottom surgery. A lot of them are happy with being girls with dicks, but I'm not, unfortunately. It does not need to be a vagina. I just need it to not look like a penis. Still waiting. 2.5 years done. 2 more to go. So no, little Jimmy can just go to school and come back and have a life-changing procedure. It is not true. And is this really hard to believe when there are people born asexuals, albinos, and sometimes two-headed? Nature's nature is to be inevitably weird. Abnormality, by definition, does not exclude us from being children of Mother Nature. We're just rare. That's why I call it a mental condition. You meet those conditions, boom, voila, you're just regular now. Thus, I conclude my research. So, your issue is just terminology? Pretty much, yeah. I theorize that society got it confused all this time as no one bothers learning us if not to self-aggrandize at the cost of our well-being. Isn't that right, Mr. AGP? Asian baby girl what? As we learn trans people, we learn literally everyone else. As I formed this thesis to prove that trans people aren't as different and exclusive as we all thought. We're not unicorns, we all can relate to each other. Okay? So yeah, any biologists out there, sexologists out there? Am I full of shit? Am I onto nothing? Whoa. But Tiffany, this is just misinformation. We should stick to actual science and let the professionals think for us. I guess I shouldn't have to make sense. But I do. I don't suppose I throw out my brain while we're at it. No, I have a thesis and I want conversation. This isn't even deep. These phenomena are observable in everyday life. Mary. Anyone can do scientific research. Mary. A rambling trans woman can educate herself online and publish her hypotheses for public scrutiny and be immediately labeled as pseudoscience. But Mr. Bailey Boy over here can frequent clubs and bars and publish a book that brands all trans women as vile sexual deviants and be immediately showered with praise. It's always pseudoscience, unless a white man does it. I'm not even the type to say that as the people around me do so often. But the privileged do be privileging. Is this supposed to affirm me? I don't like it. And just like that, in 2025, autogynephilia makes its way to my comment section, which is highly disputed as Blanchard claimed that autogynephilia is a central motivation for MTF transsexuals who are non-androphilic, while being absent in androphilic ones. Which I am blatantly androphilic. I like men. Have you seen my Instagram feed? It's full of fucking workouts. I don't even fit in this motherfucking description. But these frenzied sock fuckers lock in upon seeing a trans woman and immediately autogynephilia wins. They just love saying that because it sounds scientific and stoic and doesn't care about your feelings. And then end up just sounding mentally impaired. Are we rational yet? Reading comprehension's tough, America. If Bailey can change the world for the worse and generalize a whole group of people as vile sexual deviants, I can do the opposite. What difference does it make? All you need is passion and a well-functioning brain. And I have at least one of those. This video is not medical advice. This is not empirical evidence. It is just scientific theory. Do I really need to tell people that? And I need your scrutiny to further the science. I'll summarize the important talking points to argue with.
Gender dysphoria exists in almost everyone, even cis people. Women and trans women experience andro dysphoria. Men and trans men experience gyno dysphoria. Surgeries that enhance sexual dimorphism is gender affirming care. Most of body dysmorphia is just gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria largely hinges on sexual dimorphism. Body dysmorphia largely hinges on health. And the last one is just a given.
Alright, I think that's everything. And if all these are irrefutably garbage, then at least I tried. Like, oh, let's make fun of the girl who took a risk and put herself out there scientifically. If you're gonna criticize me, at least make sense. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I am off to do field research. Time to ask a bunch of strangers a bunch of very invasive questions. While I do that, check out my other stuff. Thank you.